Hollywood is full of iconic tough guys, but who truly deserves the title of the toughest? It's not just about muscles or heroic actions on screen. These actors have faced personal battles, taken risks, and pushed themselves beyond limits to earn their place in film history. In this list, we reveal the 17 toughest actors in Hollywood. Are you curious who made the list? Leave the name that you think deserves top 1 in the comments below. Top 1. Audie Murphy. Audie Murphy grew up in extreme poverty. His father abandoned the family when he was young, and his mother passed away when he was a teenager, forcing him to shoulder responsibilities far beyond his age. He became a skilled marksman from a young age, hunting to feed his siblings. The hardships of his childhood forged his toughness, teaching him survival skills and determination that later turned him to a legendary soldier. When World War II broke out, Murphy was eager to enlist, but his small stature, only 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighing about 110 pounds, led to multiple rejections. Eventually, he was accepted into the U.S. Army, where he quickly proved that toughness isn't about size, but about heart and resilience. Throughout the war, he participated in some of the fiercest battles in Europe, earning nearly every military valor medal, including the Medal of Honor. His most famous act of bravery occurred in January 1945, when he single-handedly held off an entire German company using a burning tank as cover. Wounded and isolated, he continued fighting until reinforcements arrived, an act of heroism that became legendary. Delving deeper, Murphy's war experiences were not just tales of heroism, but also a testament to mental strength, where fear was transformed into decisive action. From a personal perspective, I admire how he turned adversity into motivation, a lesson in perseverance that many can learn from. Despite his battlefield achievements, Murphy returned home with psychological scars from the war. He suffered from what is now known as PTSD, and he openly discussed it at a time when few veterans admitted to such struggles. Instead of retreating from public life, he transitioned to Hollywood, where he was encouraged to leverage his war hero status. Although he had no formal acting training, his raw authenticity and real-life experiences made him natural in cowboy and war films. Murphy's toughness wasn't just on screen. He performed many of his own stunts, proving his courage extended beyond the battlefield. Unlike other action stars who relied on staged fight scenes, Murphy approached filmmaking with the same fearless determination as in war. His most famous films, including To Hell and Back, 1955, a biographical film based on his own memoir, showcased the genuine resilience that set him apart from other Hollywood actors. His tragic death in a plane crash in 1971 ended the life of a man who had lived more than most in multiple lifetimes. But his legacy endures not only as one of the greatest war heroes in American history, but also as one of the toughest actors in Hollywood, because his toughness wasn't acting, it was real, tested in the most extreme circumstances imaginable and proven time and again, both on screen and in life. Top 2. Sterling Hayden. Before becoming an actor, Sterling Hayden worked as a fisherman and sailor, traveling the world and earning a reputation as a true seaman. By age 22, he had become a ship captain, a role that demanded resilience, intelligence, and endurance. Unlike actors who only played tough guys, Hayden had proven himself in extreme situations before setting foot in Hollywood. During World War II, Hayden enlisted and became a decorated war hero. He joined the Office of Strategic Services, OSS, the precursor to the CIA, and participated in daring missions behind enemy lines. Disguised as a Yugoslav guerrilla, he helped smuggle weapons and supplies to resistance forces fighting Nazis in Eastern Europe. His war experiences shaped him in ways Hollywood couldn't. While many actors portrayed war heroes, Hayden had lived through real combat, facing life-and-death situations that made him tougher than any role. His actions in the war earned him the Silver Star and promotion to captain, solidifying his reputation as one of Hollywood's toughest men. On a personal note, I see Hayden's story as a reminder that real toughness comes from actual deeds, not empty words, and his rejection of Hollywood's glamorous lifestyle further highlights that quality. Despite his success in Hollywood, Hayden never truly embraced the industry. He viewed acting as a way to make money, not a calling. His rugged appearance and towering physique made him ideal for leading roles in classic westerns and film noirs, but he often felt constrained by the artificiality of filmmaking. He appeared in some of the toughest films of the era, like The Asphalt Jungle, 1950, Johnny Guitar, 1954, and The Killing, 1956. These roles embodied his uncompromising, rigid personality, making him a favorite choice for directors like Stanley Kubrick and John Huston. However, Hayden's true passion lay at sea. He was famous for his disdain for Hollywood life. At the height of his career, he abandoned acting multiple times to pursue his love of sailing. He once used film earnings to buy a sailboat and took his children on an adventure to the South Seas, defying a court order in a custody battle. His deep love for the sea and rejection of Hollywood materialism set him apart from his peers. Hayden also battled personal demons, particularly alcoholism. Unlike many actors who hid their issues behind Hollywood glamour, Hayden was candid about his struggles. He wrote honestly about his life in his 1963 autobiography, Wanderer, where he expressed deep regret over his brief cooperation with the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, during the Red Scare. Unlike those who stayed silent, Hayden admitted to naming names and later called himself a traitor. This brutal self-awareness and refusal to cover up mistakes further enhanced his reputation as a man who faced life head-on, even when it meant acknowledging his own failures. Top 3. Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's toughness wasn't just physical endurance or playing scary characters on screen. It was a life full of real dangers, extraordinary achievements, and unwavering dedication to his craft. Unlike many actors famous for tough roles, Lee had lived through perils greater than anything Hollywood could create. His life spanned nearly a century filled with war, espionage, mastery of multiple skills, and an unmatched work ethic that made him one of the most formidable figures in film history. Before becoming a legendary actor, Lee was a soldier. During World War II, he volunteered for the Royal Air Force but couldn't become a pilot due to medical reasons. Instead, he joined military intelligence, working with the Special Operations Executive, SOE, a secret unit conducting espionage, sabotage, and reconnaissance in Nazi-occupied Europe. Though he rarely spoke in detail about his missions, his service placed him in dangerous situations requiring mental and physical endurance far beyond the average soldier. When asked about his experiences, he often replied vaguely, reinforcing the mysterious aura around his wartime exploits. After the war, Lee faced the challenge of starting over. Unlike many peers in the British film industry, he didn't come from wealth or privilege. He spent years struggling to establish himself as an actor, taking small, uncredited roles just to survive. His impressive height of 6 feet 5 inches made him stand out but hard to cast. However, he persevered, gradually building a reputation with his commanding screen presence. His role as Count Dracula in Horror of Dracula, 1958, propelled him to stardom. While many actors might get typecast or complacent with early success, Lee embraced the challenge of constantly reinventing himself. He took on countless diverse roles, from the villain Francisco Scaramanga in The Man with the Golden Gun, 1974, to Saruman in The Lord of the Rings and Count Dooku in Star Wars. Each role demanded an intensity few actors could match, and his deep, authoritative voice, combined with his physical presence, made every character unforgettable. Beyond acting, Lee's toughness extended to his relentless pursuit of excellence in everything. He was a world-class fencer, performing his own sword fights in many films. He was fluent in multiple languages, including French, German, Italian, and Spanish, allowing him to take international roles easily, even in old age. He didn't slow down. At 88, he released a heavy metal album, proving he was always willing to challenge himself in new ways. In analysis, Lee represented the perfect blend of intellect and physical strength, a model that, from my perspective, enriches the concept of tough guy with cultural depth. Top 4. Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas grew up in extreme poverty in Amsterdam, New York. His father was an illiterate rag picker, and the family often struggled to have food. From a young age, Douglas learned to survive through sheer willpower. He did countless odd jobs, delivering newspapers, janitorial work, even wrestling at carnivals just to support the family. Despite the hardships, he was determined to get an education and worked his way through St. Lawrence University, where he excelled in debate and sports. World War II interrupted his studies, and Douglas enlisted in the U.S. Navy, serving as a communications officer in anti-submarine warfare. He was medically discharged after being injured in a depth charge explosion early on. Though he recovered, the experience reinforced his understanding of real toughness, which he later brought to his on-screen roles. His rise in Hollywood was neither easy nor immediate. Unlike actors with industry connections, Douglas had to fight for every opportunity. After struggling on stage, he got his big break in The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, 1946, where he played against type as a weak alcoholic. But Champion, 1949, solidified his tough guy image. As an ambitious and ruthless boxer, Douglas delivered an intense performance that earned his first Oscar nomination. The physicality, raw aggression, and moral complexity he brought to the role became his signature acting style. His personal life also reflected toughness. In an industry known for excess and self-destruction, Douglas maintained an iron will, surviving multiple near-death experiences. He survived a 1991 helicopter crash that killed 2 other passengers. And in 1996, after a severe stroke that left him unable to speak, he refused to fade away. With sheer determination, he regained his speech and continued public appearances, writing books, inspiring others with his endurance. Douglas worked tirelessly into his 90s, writing memoirs, supporting charities, and maintaining an active presence in Hollywood. In commentary, Douglas is living proof that age doesn't limit inner strength, and from a personal perspective, his recovery from the stroke is a profound inspiration about human willpower. Top 5. Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin, born in 1924 in New York, was an icon of cinematic tough guys. With his bass voice and prematurely gray hair. His toughness stemmed from his military service and acting career, as well as personal struggles that shaped his public image. He enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps in 1942, serving as a scout sniper in the Pacific during World War II. He participated in 21 landings, including Kwajalein, Eniwetok, and Saipan Tinian. On June 18, 1944, at Saipan, he was wounded by machine gun fire that severed his sciatic nerve and shot him in the foot, leading to over a year of treatment and discharge at the rank of Private First Class. He received the Purple Heart and other medals, reflecting his combat experiences and endurance. His acting career began after the war, starting on stage and TV, shows like Escape and Treasury Men in Action. His film debut was You're in the Navy Now, 1951, gaining prominence with villain roles in The Big Heat, 1953, and The Wild One, 1953. He starred as Detective Lieutenant Frank Ballinger in M Squad, 1957 to 1960. His breakthrough came with a dual role in Cat Ballou, 1965, winning the Academy Award for Best Actor. Notable films: The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 1962, The Killers, 1964, The Professionals, 1966, The Dirty Dozen, 1967, Point Blank, 1967. His final role was in The Delta Force, 1986. He faced personal challenges like the Palimony lawsuit, Marvin v. Marvin, 1976, with ex-girlfriend Michelle Triola, resulting in a court order of $104,000 that was later overturned. He was married twice, to Betty Ebeling, 1952 to 1967, 4 children, and Pamela Feely, 1970 to 1987. His health declined due to heavy smoking and drinking. leading to hospitalization in 1986 for coccidioidomycosis-related illness, intestinal rupture, and colostomy, dying of a heart attack in 1987 at age 63. Marvin was considered a tough actor thanks to his real military service, where he endured combat and injuries, informing authentic roles like Major John Reisman in The Dirty Dozen and the vengeful Walker in Point Blank. In analysis, Marvin brought depth to tough guys by combining violence with complex inner turmoil, and from my perspective, his life is a cautionary tale about the cost of a harsh lifestyle but also a testament to the enduring appeal of authenticity. Top 6. Jack Palance. Jack Palance, born in 1919 in Pennsylvania as Volodymyr Palahniuk to Ukrainian immigrant parents, embodied toughness both on screen and in life, contributing to his reputation as a formidable actor in Hollywood's golden age. His early life involved working in coal mines and a brief boxing career under the name Jack Brazo, winning 15 consecutive club fights with 12 knockouts. This foreshadowed his tough guy image. His World War II military service saw him enlist in the U.S. Army Air Forces, training as a B-24 Liberator pilot. He was seriously injured in the head and suffered burns in a 1943 crash, requiring reconstructive surgery that left him with a gaunt appearance, enhancing his on-screen toughness. He was discharged in 1944, with some sources claiming he received the Purple Heart, though official records do not confirm. His acting career began on Broadway in 1947, understudying Marlon Brando in A Streetcar Named Desire. His film debut was Panic in the Streets, 1950, earning Academy Award nominations for Best Supporting Actor in Sudden Fear, 1952, and Shane, 1953. Playing the fearsome hired gun Jack Wilson. He won an Emmy for Requiem for a Heavyweight, 1957, and an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor in City Slickers, 1991. Playing cowboy Curly Washburn, famously doing one-armed push-ups at age 73 during the Oscars. His films often featured him as criminals and cowboys. In villain roles, like in Young Guns, 1988, Tango and Cash, 1989. He worked in Europe from the late 1950s to 1970s, including Contempt, 1963, Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1973. He hosted Ripley's Believe It or Not, 1982 to 1986, reviving his career. Personally, he divorced his first wife, Virginia Baker, in 1968 after 19 years. Virginia died tragically in a 2003 car accident. He married Elaine Rogers in 1987. His toughness was not just physical but resilient, working until 2004 with his final role in Back When We Were Grown-Ups. His distinctive appearance from war injuries and ability to play fearsome roles solidified his tough actor reputation. With a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and induction into the Hall of Great Western Performers in 1992. In commentary, Palance proved that injuries can become assets, and from a personal perspective, his Oscar push-ups are an icon of timeless strength, inspiring never to surrender to age. Top 7. William Smith. William Smith grew up on a cattle ranch before his family moved to Southern California. He began training from a young age, developing the physique that later made him a dominating force in Hollywood, but his toughness went far beyond the physical. He was exceptionally intelligent, earning a master's degree in Russian studies and fluent in multiple languages, including Russian, German, and French. Before Hollywood, Smith served in the U.S. Air Force during the Korean War, working in covert intelligence. Though much of his military service remains classified, he participated in aerial combat missions, adding to his reputation as someone tested in extreme conditions. His time in the military instilled discipline and an uncompromising attitude that set him apart from Hollywood peers. When transitioning to acting, Smith quickly became known as one of the most physically dominant actors in the industry. Standing at 6 feet 2 inches with a chiseled build, he was an arm wrestling champion and one of the strongest men in Hollywood. He even had real fighting skills, training in martial arts and competitive boxing. This wasn't just for show. Smith was renowned for his incredible strength, once bench pressing over 500 pounds, making him one of the strongest actors of his era. His toughness was on full display in his action-packed career, spanning over 300 films and TV shows. He played bikers, soldiers, cowboys, and villains, always bringing an intensity few could match. Roles in Any Which Way You Can, 1980, alongside Clint Eastwood, and Red Dawn, 1984, showcased his ability to play terrifying yet compelling antagonists. He didn't need stunt doubles. His real fighting background meant he handled fight scenes with ease. Perhaps the most legendary Hollywood moment was his brutal bare-knuckle fight with Clint Eastwood in Any Which Way You Can. Unlike staged fights that prioritize style over realism, this one was raw, gritty, and intense. His ability to hold his own against Eastwood in one of the most memorable fight scenes in film history solidified his reputation as a true Hollywood tough guy. Even in old age, Smith didn't lose his toughness. He continued acting into his later years, maintaining his powerful physique and uncompromising attitude. Unlike many actors who soften with age, he remained a dominating force both in acting and in real life. He never lost the edge that made him one of Hollywood's most respected tough guys. Top 8. George Maharis. Breaking into Hollywood was tough for any actor, but Maharis had to fight harder than most. In an era where actors were often typecast based on ethnicity and appearance, he struggled to find meaningful roles. His perseverance paid off when he landed small TV roles before his breakthrough as Buzz Murdoch in Route 66 in 1960. His character, a street-smart, tough-talking drifter traveling across America, resonated with audiences. Unlike many Hollywood stars of the time, Maharis brought real grit to his performances. He wasn't playing tough, he was tough. The physical demands of Route 66 were extreme. The show was filmed on location across America, requiring Maharis and co-star Martin Milner to endure grueling travel schedules and long shooting hours. Unlike studio productions with controlled environments, Maharis often filmed in harsh weather, further testing his endurance. But the biggest career challenge came when he contracted hepatitis in 1962. The illness was poorly understood at the time, and Maharis battled not only the disease but also pressure from producers to keep working despite his declining health. Instead of risking his life for the show, he made the tough decision to leave Route 66 at the height of its popularity. It was a controversial move that cost him his leading man status in Hollywood, but it also showed his willingness to stand up for himself when his health was at stake. Many actors would have faded away after such a career setback, but Maharis refused to give up. After recovering, he transitioned to film roles and continued working steadily on TV. He appeared in action shows like Mission Impossible, The Streets of San Francisco, and Fantasy Island, proving he still had the intensity and presence that made him a star. He also embraced bolder roles, refusing to let industry expectations limit his career. Maharis wasn't just tough on screen. He wasn't afraid to challenge Hollywood's rigid norms. At a time when personal lives were heavily scrutinized, he refused to conform to expectations, living life on his own terms. His endurance extended beyond acting. He also pursued painting, showcasing another side of his talent. Top 9. Clint Walker. Clint Walker dropped out of school early and took on jobs that tested his strength and endurance. He worked on riverboats, oil fields, and as a bouncer, accumulating hands-on experience in heavy labor and confrontations. Eventually, he joined the Merchant Marine during World War II, serving in dangerous waters before returning home to continue searching for his path in life. His journey to stardom was unconventional. Unlike many actors with stage training or privileged backgrounds, Walker was discovered purely for his impressive physique and striking looks. A talent agent spotted him while he was working security in Las Vegas, leading to a meeting with Cecil B. DeMille. This opened doors in Hollywood where he landed the role that made him famous, Cheyenne Bodie in the TV series Cheyenne, 1955 to 1963. Playing Cheyenne Bodie required more than just looking the part. The show was one of the first successful hour-long westerns on TV, demanding extensive horseback riding, fights, and outdoor shooting in harsh conditions. Unlike many actors who relied on stuntmen, Walker preferred to do many of his own stunts, showcasing his real strength and skills. Whether throwing punches, handling guns, or wrestling opponents to the ground, he made it all look effortless. Because for him, it was. But Walker's toughness wasn't just for the camera. In 1971, he had a near-death experience that would have ended most men. While skiing at Mammoth Mountain, California, he suffered a freak accident where a ski pole pierced his heart. The injury was so severe that doctors initially pronounced him dead. Miraculously, he survived emergency surgery, and within months, he was back in action, filming as if nothing had happened. Few actors or ordinary people could bounce back from such an injury, but Walker was built differently. In analysis, Walker's survival emphasizes that toughness is a mix of luck and will, and from a personal perspective, his story reminds us of the hidden strength in everyone when facing death. Top 10. Christian Bale. What sets Bale apart is his willingness to undergo physical transformations to inhabit his roles. One of the most extreme examples is The Machinist, 2004, where he lost over 60 pounds to play a gaunt insomniac. Living mostly on coffee, apples, and a can of tuna per day, he dropped to a dangerous 120 pounds. The level of self-discipline and mental toughness required to endure such a transformation is almost unprecedented in Hollywood. Right after The Machinist, Bale reversed the process and bulked up for Batman in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins, 2005. In just 6 months, he went from emaciated to muscular, gaining over 100 pounds. Such drastic physical changes are nearly impossible for most actors, but Bale did it through brutal training, controlled dieting, and sheer willpower. His Batman role wasn't just about looks. He performed many of his own stunts and underwent rigorous fight training to make the action scenes authentic. Beyond physical endurance, Bale's intensity on set is legendary. He's famous for immersing himself deeply in characters, often staying in character even when cameras weren't rolling. His role in Rescue Dawn, 2006, required weight loss again, enduring harsh jungle conditions, and performing physically demanding scenes in a film that was a survival test for the actors as much as the characters. Then came The Fighter, 2010, where Bale played a former crack-addicted boxer. Once more, he transformed his body, losing weight and adopting the twitchy, erratic energy of an addict. The role won him an Oscar, but the real victory was how convincingly he disappeared into the character, proving his toughness was psychological as well as physical. Bale doesn't just take extreme roles, he does whatever it takes to make them believable. For American Hustle, 2013, he gained over 40 pounds and developed a slouched posture so convincing that he had back issues afterward. For Ford v Ferrari, 2019, he learned precise driving techniques, spending time behind the wheel to embody a real racer. Christian Bale doesn't just act, he becomes, whether starving himself, bulking up, enduring extreme conditions, or diving deep into a character's psyche. He commits in ways few do. His toughness isn't just for the screen, it's real, unyielding, and it's why he stands as one of the hardest-working, most intense actors in Hollywood history. In commentary, Bale represents modern artistic sacrifice, and from my perspective, his transformations are proof that to achieve excellence, one must be willing to suffer. Top 11. David Niven. Unlike many Hollywood stars who found fame first, David Niven's path to the silver screen took an unconventional detour through the military. He attended the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the British Army. However, the rigid military structure didn't suit his free-spirited personality, and he resigned, heading to America in search of something greater. His early years in Hollywood were far from glamorous. He struggled to land meaningful roles, often working as an extra before gradually building a reputation as a reliable supporting actor. But as his career gained momentum, World War II erupted, and Niven did what almost no major Hollywood actor did. He voluntarily left the glitz of Hollywood to re-enlist in the British Army. Most actors involved in the war effort took non-combat roles, entertaining troops or making propaganda films. Niven was different. He returned to England and was recommissioned as an officer in the British Army, joining the Commandos, an elite special forces unit. He participated in dangerous missions, including preparations for the D-Day invasion. Though many details of his service remain classified, those who served with him spoke highly of his courage and leadership under fire. One of the most notable stories about Niven's wartime toughness came when a fellow officer asked why he returned to fight when he could have stayed safe in Hollywood. His reply was simple but profound. "I had a duty." This sense of responsibility and bravery defined him. Proving his toughness wasn't about appearance, it was about character. After the war, he returned to Hollywood, but the comeback wasn't immediate. He had to rebuild his career from scratch, something few actors manage after years away from the industry. Through sheer determination and undeniable talent, he landed leading roles in films like A Matter of Life and Death, 1946, and The Bishop's Wife, 1947. His smooth, sophisticated screen presence made him a sought-after leading man. Off-screen, he endured personal hardships that tested his resilience. His first wife, Primula, died tragically in a freak accident at a Hollywood party, leaving him devastated. Despite the heartbreak, he continued raising their 2 children while maintaining his career. Later, he faced a slow decline due to ALS, yet he never lost his humor or dignity, even as the disease progressed. Top 12. Danny Trejo. Prison is where Trejo's toughness was truly tested. Life inside was brutal, with constant violence and survival determined by the ability to command respect. But it was also in prison that he discovered a way to channel his raw strength through boxing. He became a prison champion in lightweight and welterweight boxing, earning a reputation not just as a dangerous fighter, but as someone who could hold his own in the harshest environments. Time behind bars could have defined the rest of his life. But Trejo chose differently from many who shared his past. He wanted to change. After his final release in the late 1960s, he dedicated himself to staying clean and helping others, working as a drug counselor for troubled youth. It was through this work that Hollywood came calling in the most unexpected way. In 1985, while visiting the set of Runaway Train to help an actor with addiction, Trejo was recognized by the screenwriter who had been imprisoned with him years earlier. The film needed realistic-looking inmates for background roles, and Trejo fit perfectly. His menacing appearance and real prison experience with prison fights caught the director's eye, casting him as an extra. Soon after, he was asked to train Eric Roberts for a boxing scene. And from that moment, Trejo's Hollywood career took off. Unlike actors who progressed gradually through formal training and auditions, Trejo became the go-to tough guy because he was the real deal. He didn't need to act like someone who looked dangerous. He had lived it. His scars, deep voice, and intimidating presence made him perfect for roles in films like Heat, 1995, Con Air, 1997, and Desperado, 1995, where he often played ruthless enforcers, hitmen, or criminals. Even outside Hollywood, Trejo's endurance and commitment to growth make him one of the toughest figures in the industry. He has been sober for over 50 years, continuing to help others battle addiction. He also built a business empire, owning Trejo's Tacos and Trejo's Coffee and Donuts. Proving toughness isn't just physical strength. It's about surviving, evolving, and thriving. In 2019, Trejo's real heroism was tested when he witnessed a car accident in Los Angeles. Without hesitation, he rushed to the scene and helped rescue a trapped child from an overturned vehicle. It was a moment that reflected who he truly is. Not just an actor playing tough characters, but a man whose strength comes from the trials he endured and overcame. In analysis, Trejo's journey from prisoner to hero is a classic redemption story. And from a personal perspective, it offers hope that anyone can change if they have the will. Top 13. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn was famous for his love of fast cars, dangerous sports, and frequent legal clashes. His boisterous spirit extended to his personal relationships, which were often chaotic, and countless affairs that were fodder for tabloids. However, these traits weren't just the result of immaturity or the excesses of fame. Flynn truly lived life on his own terms, unbound by conventional expectations. Despite his often reckless behavior, Flynn's physical endurance and strength were part of what made him a tough figure in the eyes of the public and peers. He had an incredible ability to recover from difficult circumstances. Whether surviving a plane crash in the New Guinea jungle during World War II or enduring countless legal battles and public scandals, Flynn's physical resilience was as legendary as his bravado. His ability to stay at the top, maintaining the agility and demanding skills for heavy action roles, was a testament to his commitment to the art of acting. Behind the scenes, Flynn was known for performing his own stunts whenever possible, never shying away from the physical demands of films, even when the risks were high. His eventful personal life was similarly marked by chaotic relationships, legal challenges, and persistent rumors that painted him as an extreme individual. His involvement in high-profile lawsuits, particularly the legal battles surrounding allegations of sexual misconduct in the 1940s, showed a man unafraid to confront the system, even when it threatened to destroy his career. His willingness to stand up for himself even in the face of scandal demonstrated that toughness isn't just physical, but mental and emotional. Top 14. James Doohan. James Doohan initially trained as a pilot during World War II. His service in the Royal Canadian Air Force was one of the experiences that shaped his life and helped form the resilient character that became part of his public image. Doohan flew 29 combat missions over Europe. These harrowing experiences would prove to be the first of many challenges he faced. In one fateful mission, Doohan was wounded when shot in his right hand, losing a finger. This injury, however, did not stop him from pursuing his dreams. His ability to continue after such a traumatic event was a testament to his indomitable will. After the war, Doohan shifted his focus to acting, but his military experiences continued to influence his career. He joined the Canadian Army Reserve and later studied at the renowned Neighborhood Playhouse in New York, eventually landing numerous roles on Broadway and Canadian radio. He became a staple in the entertainment world, working across radio, TV, and film in various genres. But it was in the mid-1960s that Doohan's life took a turn that led to his iconic Hollywood status. When Doohan was cast as Scotty, the brilliant no-nonsense engineer of the Starship Enterprise, he brought something unique to the role. Though Scotty was often seen as dependable, even humorous, Doohan infused him with toughness drawn from real experiences. Unlike the stereotypical engineer who might sit in the background, Scotty was active, often called into dangerous situations that threatened lives. He had to stay calm under pressure, a trait Doohan mirrored in real life. One of the most notable aspects of Doohan's life was his willingness to keep working despite physical challenges. His World War II injury left him with a permanent disability, but he never let it hinder his performances. In fact, many fans didn't even realize Doohan was missing a finger because he skillfully used his natural dexterity to conceal it, maintaining the physicality of the characters he created. Top 15. Charles Bronson. Growing up in a coal mining town, Charles Bronson witnessed firsthand the harshness of working-class life, experiences that resonated throughout his career. From a young age, he worked in the coal mines alongside his father, grueling work that demanded immense physical endurance. These formative years instilled the toughness that became a defining aspect of his character. Bronson's journey to becoming one of the most iconic tough guys was long and winding. After serving in the U.S. Army during World War II, where he received the Purple Heart, Bronson returned to America and eventually pursued acting. Initially, he was cast in small, unremarkable roles, often as background or uncredited extras. Despite his rugged appearance and brooding demeanor, he struggled to break into Hollywood's limelight. This phase of his career was marked by perseverance. He didn't get leading roles right away, and it was years of steady small parts before he became the star many recognize. But what truly set Bronson apart was his commitment to authenticity. Bronson didn't just play tough characters. He embodied the essence of resilience and strength. This authenticity was rooted in real experiences. As the son of immigrants, a working-class laborer, and a veteran, Bronson's life was shaped by hardship and struggle. These experiences informed the characters he portrayed, bringing an emotional depth that many other action stars lacked. His stoic demeanor and sparing use of dialogue amplified the sense of inner toughness. A man who had been through life's harshest trials and emerged unchanged. Off-screen, Bronson was known for his no-nonsense attitude. He didn't indulge in the typical Hollywood lifestyle, making him a stark contrast to many contemporaries. While other stars partied in the limelight, Bronson kept a low profile, preferring solitude or time with family. His rejection of fame's trappings only reinforced his reputation as a tough, principled man more concerned with living on his own terms than maintaining a Hollywood image. Top 16. James Stewart. James Stewart grew up with a strong sense of responsibility, humility, and discipline, qualities that later manifested in his on-screen personas. But his time at Princeton and experiences as an athlete contributed to developing the physicality and mental fortitude he displayed both in his career and personal life. Stewart, a member of the university fencing team, built a foundation of toughness that he carried into his future roles. Stewart's career took a major pivot during World War II when he enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Corps in 1941. Though a Hollywood star at the time, Stewart chose to serve his country. Unlike many actors who secured deferments or stayed in safe civilian roles, Stewart felt a profound duty to contribute meaningfully. The decision to enlist was not taken lightly. Stewart was deeply aware of the dangers of combat. During his service, he flew combat missions over Europe, eventually rising to colonel and becoming a respected figure in the military. Stewart's combat bravery earned him numerous decorations, including the Distinguished Flying Cross, recognizing his courage and skill as a bomber pilot. However, the psychological toll of war was not lost on Stewart. He witnessed firsthand the horrors of combat, losing comrades and carrying the emotional weight of those experiences for a lifetime. Returning to Hollywood after the war marked a visible change in his demeanor. He was no longer the carefree, bright-eyed actor who had left for service. The toll of war made him tougher, more introspective, and aware of life's fragility. However, it also brought depth to his characters that influenced his performances in ways no actor of the time could replicate. The transition back to Hollywood wasn't easy. He struggled with PTSD like many soldiers, affecting his ability to find footing in the industry again. His war experiences and psychological scars brought a sense of purpose that defined his acting career. He began taking on more complex, sometimes darker roles that resonated with audiences who saw not just an actor, but a man who had faced real hardship and wasn't afraid to show it. It was during this period that Stewart solidified his status as an actor with unmatched emotional depth and authenticity. Throughout the late 1940s and 1950s, Stewart became synonymous with roles that exemplified strength, integrity, and resilience. His portrayal of the idealistic Jefferson Smith in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, 1939, captured the essence of a man with deep moral convictions, standing against corruption and injustice. Though the role wasn't necessarily about physical toughness, It showcased Stewart's capacity to portray someone with iron will and unwavering determination to fight for what's right. This was a theme that carried over into many future roles. Characters who, when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges, would not be easily swayed. Top 17. Karl Urban. Karl Urban didn't enter the acting world through the traditional route. He was passionate about the craft from a young age, but his early exposure to acting came more through local theater rather than Hollywood fame. What set him apart early on was his commitment to authentic, gritty roles and his drive to push boundaries beyond what was expected. His approach to acting was molded by his New Zealand upbringing, where he witnessed the resilience of tight-knit communities that often had to work hard to make a name in the shadow of glitzy Hollywood dominance. Urban's physical toughness is immediately apparent in his famous roles, but he wasn't always defined by starry action hero parts. His role as Éomer in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, 2002-2003, introduced him to a global audience, but it wasn't an easy experience. The demanding physical nature of the role, combined with the intense high-altitude environments of New Zealand's wilderness, tested Urban's endurance. He didn't simply play a warrior, he had to be one. Scenes required him to spend hours on horseback, often in extreme weather, and fight choreographed battles that pushed his physical limits. He did many stunts himself, even enduring bruises and injuries that come with intense physical activity. This dedication to physical challenges set the stage for the type of actor he became, one who would not shy away from physically demanding roles, regardless of the toll. In final analysis, Urban represents the modern generation of tough guys who blend film technology with real grit. And from a personal perspective, his commitment to roles like Éomer is why the Lord of the Rings series remains timeless. What do you think about these stars? Leave a comment in the section below. We hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.